Now,
With a W. Thanks for the correction. I appreciate you.
that's it. We are live everywhere. What's up? Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. Welcome back to another episode of the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, C. Muzan. I got Kabi here with us. Say what's up, Kabi.
What up, though?
Gotta get it in. Gotta
Shout
get it
out Big Detroit.
in. This is the best part of the show, right? Because we're shouting out Detroit. You got your Detroit fun fact, huh?
I see what had happened is I wrote it on a piece of paper and then I went outside, and because we're in Detroit, it was cold and I lost my paper in the snow. And my dog ate my homework.
Very, very manly excuses there for why he doesn't have his Detroit fact. But shout out to Detroit, the city that we love, that we haven't been to. But your Uncle Jalen is still waiting for you to come over there and put a hat on. I don't know.
Yo, put in the chat if you're on Instagram, if you're listening on a podcast somewhere in there, give us a Detroit fact. Even if you're not from Detroit, man, Google that and put it in, man. Help a brother out. Google Detroit fact. Google on, put it in the chat. And if you're listening on podcast, YouTube, wherever you are, give us some Detroit facts. Like, what should we put on the next show? Put it somewhere. LinkedIn, what's up? Everywhere. Give us some Detroit facts.
That's it. Let us know what we're missing out on.
What?
I said they're going to Detroit tonight.
Shout out Jake.
There we go. Barry Sanders. Ooh, yeah, football season. Detroit Lions, Hall of Famer. He does have
best running back of all time.
Ooh,
hands down.
Say it with your chest.
Best running back of all time. Most creative. Yeah, one of the best receivers of all time. Megatron. That's right.
Megatron out of the league though, right? He's not.
Oh yeah, he retired early. He said bye. I'm not playing for any more of a loser franchise like Detroit Lions.
How you gonna bash the city in the same?
No, I'm not bashing it. I'm just saying.
It was a loser franchise. I'm just saying. Oh man.
Oh man.
This guy. But either way, man. Go ahead.
Detroit fact for you. Detroit was essential in winning World War II. How? Ooh. You got to listen next time to learn how.
That is the cliffhanger fact. We're gonna hang our hat on that one. Come back next week. Tune into the podcast. By the way, hit a thumbs up, hit the like button, leave us a comment, something anywhere that you're listening, whether it be YouTube, Apple, iTunes, whatever it is that you're listening on here on Instagram. Share this with somebody. Give us a like, a thumbs up, because we are on a road to episode 100. Look at that. This is episode 97 that you're listening to. We're on a road to episode 100, and we got a lot of good things in store, a lot of fun things up ahead, a lot more insight, more value. All the good stuff is coming up. Isn't that right, Kabi?
That's right. And if you're just joining us, race to 100. Actually, we're not race. We're cruising like Usain Bolt, right? Shoulders up, head over toes. Shout out David Weck Method, San Diego. We appreciate you. See, what we do on this show, man, and I'm not going to waste any more time, but I'll give y'all something, is we appreciate people, right? We appreciate people. So you might get a random shout out at any point in the show. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over and stop wasting time, brother. Go ahead, man. You got this.
Just random. You might get a random shout out. That's just what happens.
Shout out Jesus.
Just randomly, we'll shout out Jesus. Just randomly.
He's a good guy.
Either way, guys, we are here. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Let's dive into this part of the show we call 2 by 2. Let's dive right in, where we're giving you two perspectives, one from the health side, one from the wealth side, on a topic of today. Kabi, you have that topic today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
Yeah.
you know, because we are international, we also call it dose by dose. Der, a der. That's right. Today's topic is on Liver King. And goodness gracious, I hate to give this man some more publicity, but it is what it is. I'm going to go first, right? Listen, you guys know by this point here that this man has gained over 3.5 million followers by preaching the benefit of eating raw animal testicles, right? Liver, raw liver, etc. His real name is Brian Johnson, and what we also know that he's also really on steroids, up to the tune of $11,000 a month, injecting into his buttocks so that he could get the muscles that you see that's made him so famous. Listen, I'm not here to hate on the man. I'm really not. But anybody with some sense knew this man was medically enhanced. And what gets me is I don't disagree with a lot of the things he had to say, but at the same time, when you are medically enhanced and lying about it, I just watched some clips of this man straight up denying, not just denying, but also to the point where he is calling people who are not medically enhanced, right, subprimal. Why? Because they're calling him out. My guy, A-Rod, Cars Lewis, come on, bro. If you're going to do it, just do it. But you really got to call people out straight to their face, spit in my face, lie to me. What is going on, brother? Man, listen, just own what you do. Own what you do and stop lying to the people. But I'm not even upset. Why I'm not upset? Because people out there want to be deceived. They want to be lied to. Tell me a fairy tale. Lie to me. Right? Tell me I can do it by just taking shots of liver in the morning. I ain't got to do anything else, do I? Right? Listen, you want to be lied to, so you look at this man, you made him your hero, right? And now you've been duped and you want your money back. Well, there ain't no refunds here. Is this your king? Is this your guy? Is he your king? You should be ashamed of yourself because you made this man. You lifted him up. You made him king. And my 2 minutes is up. I'm going to turn it over because Liver King, he ain't my king. Out.
That is the clip right there. That is it. That is it. And again, if we're going to talk about this Liver King, right, we're going to have a real conversation around him. Obviously, people want the quick fix. You see it in the health side. We see it in the wealth side. People want the quick fix. That's exactly what he was giving to people. He was giving them the quick fix. Hey, you can get a body like this by just doing this little thing. It's very similar to what happens in the financial space. Hey, you can double your money by just doing this quick investment. It's all the same stuff. It's all the same stuff, but specifically for Liver King, right? Obviously on your side, you have some real feelings about what he's doing because you know that there is no quick fix like that. You can eat as many goat testicles, I don't know, whatever he's bull testicles, whatever he's telling you to eat, and it's not going to get you to the level of health, of fitness, of jackness, whatever you're trying to get to that you saw there. But people are very, very quick to fall for those types of things. I'm curious because, again, from another perspective, I'm curious about how this affects his business. Again, you know, from the health side, people that push health products and supplements and those types of things, obviously they have to stand by their product and stand by what they believe in. That's probably why he got onto this Liver King side, because he sells supplements that are around the same types of things, right? Around, liver and bone and all that type of stuff. So either way, he has to stand by his product. I'm curious what this is doing for his business. I'm curious what this is doing to his financial streams. Do you think his business increased over this time? I'd probably say yes. All publicity is good publicity, right? It doesn't matter whether it's him just saying that he was on the roids or he wasn't on the roids, or whether it was just from the liver or not. Doesn't matter. All publicity is good publicity. I think this is helping his business. I think this is helping his cash flow. He might not be doing the right thing for people, potentially, but I think this is improving his business for sure. That's my 2 cents on it.
Great 2 cents. Might even be 4 cents, brother. You're right on it. And listen, guys, We're not saying that this man is a bad man by any means. We're not here to judge. We're just here to comment on the situation that had happened. And of course, it improved his business. $100 million, he might have doubled that. He might be making Aaron Judge money at this point, right? God bless him. Go ahead, my brother. Make your money. People want to believe what you go ahead, but go ahead, give him a full disclosure, man. You know, I do believe the man was doing a lot of good things. I do believe he was doing a lot of those things as well. But it helps, right? It helps. People will listen to you when you got guns. People will listen to you, and it is what it is. So that's it for us, man. What we got next, bro? If you got any comments, put it in the chat right now, live while you're watching us on Instagram. I am Cut the Noise. C moves on one. All right. If you're on LinkedIn, let us know. You can comment. If you're on Facebook, you can comment. Wherever you are, you can comment. And if you're not watching this live, you can still comment because all comments are good comments. Yeah.
My channeling your inner Liver King for the whole show. Channeling it. Listen, we love it. But episode 97, we had a specific agenda. We actually had a specific topic that we wanted to bring up, and it was an important one. I'll intro it really quickly because for those of people that are following on Instagram, you might have seen this post from Mr. Kabi here, from Coach, from I Am Cut the Noise. You might have seen this post, but he put something out that said he was 301 days sober, or 300 and something days sober, meaning not having smoked any weed, not having drank any alcohol, not having either one of those two substances for the entire year. And off camera, off air, when him and I are having this conversation, I said, bro, that is a big deal. That is a big deal. Like, I don't know how many people out there can say that they've gone over 300 days, almost now coming up to a full year, 365 days, without partaking in some alcohol or something to smoke. It's been a very, very, very hard road for a lot of people to break that habit, and he was able to do it. And I was like, we got to have a full show about this. We got to have a full show. We got to have a full conversation about it, because there's people that will learn from this, and there's people that need the guidance to understand how you were able to do it. And then also just being aware and understanding of the environment that we're in, and how this is more prevalent and can become a real slippery slope if we're not careful. But I wanted to really have this conversation with you because I think it's important. So dive in, man. 300. Wait, where are you at, by the way? What day are we at today?
Somebody commented on one of the posts and said, when you stop counting days, that's when you really know. And I've stopped counting days, brother. But as I went off Instagram just now, I just checked on app I Am Sober. If you are taking on this journey, I highly recommend that you get that app. But at 342 days as of today, as of today. And guys, I don't have too many notes for the show today. Usually we do a little bit of work to get prepped. Not too much though. We don't want to work too hard now, but we do a little bit to get prepped. I appreciate you setting this up, but let me just speak from the heart for a minute, right? I'm just speak from the heart for a minute. Guys, this is not something I did so that I could publicize it on social media. In fact, I really didn't want to talk about this at all. I wanted to keep it to the vest, keep it to myself, and it be a personal challenge for me as an individual, as a man. I can look myself in the mirror and know that I did it for me. And as I shared it with a couple of folks, my brother here included, they start to encourage me to share it because perhaps some people can draw some inspiration from this or whatnot. And I was very hesitant. I got to be honest. My man can attest to this, right? I was very hesitant to share it because I didn't want to make it a public spectacle just to make it a public spectacle, because that's not what it was about. Where it started for me is every year, at the end of the year, I take a look in the mirror by myself with my wife, and then I say, where can I improve as a man? Where can I improve as an individual? And then I take a look at that. I have a journal that I write now. And if you've taken any one of my journaling courses, I use a template for both during the year and the end of the year template that I developed for myself. And I go through and I look at, what did I do last year and what do I want to do next year? So last year, almost about a year now, coming up on a year, I sat down and I really looked at myself. I said, I want to do X, Y, and Z. I want to grow my business. I want to better myself. I want to be a better husband, a better brother. All of these different goals that I set forth. And then I asked myself the question, what do I have to give up? And I actually found this in my journal the other day. What do I have to give up to achieve these things? And what do I have to add to achieve these things? And one of the things that I put in terms of what I had to give up was little things that were distracting me, whether it be, and one of the things I came to was alcohol and weed. Now, I want to preface this by saying, I wouldn't in no shape or form say I was an alcoholic or an addict of no, lots of people in my life didn't really know I even touched those. Right? It was something to relax, something socially, etc. But I got to a point where for me, I felt like it was a little bit of a distraction, right? That if I could give it up, I could gain more time back. And my theory was that I could get more clarity in my life. I could be more aligned with my head, heart, and my body. And that sense of alignment is where we draw power, right? And when you are in alignment with yourself, right, you can manifest at a much higher level, right? So in working with clients and seeing them struggle to give things up in their life, I had to look at myself and be like, yo, what is this thing that maybe it's not necessarily a huge problem, but if I was to do this, I would not only challenge myself, but I would also be in more alignment with myself and increase my sense of power, my personal power, to manifest the things that I wanted to manifest in my life. And again, I was running off a theory, right? I've done other challenging things in my life, and I knew the sense of power I got afterwards. So I want to just set the stage and reiterate, this was in no way, shape, or form to be like, oh, I'm doing this and like blah, 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 blah. I was actually nervous at first because I wasn't really sure that I could go a full year. Right. So let's start off with that, brother. And then if you have anything, feel free to jump in. But this is what I'll say. We say, how do you quit? First and foremost, it's awareness. That's where we start everywhere. Whether it's health, whether it's building wealth, is awareness. Where are you right now? Where are you doing well? Where are you not doing well? And being brutally honest with the current state of affairs. And I think this is where a lot of my brothers and sisters in smoke, let's call them that. My brothers and sisters in drink, let's call them that. We at times are not honest with ourselves, right? We dance around the issue because we're not in alignment. Maybe we don't want to look bad to the public facing, right? The persona that we've created for the public. We don't want to look bad. That was one of my things, right? People didn't really know that about me. So I didn't want to look bad. I didn't want to look like, I wanted to portray a particular image. And perhaps this getting out publicly, and you can't be more public than social media, it might land in the hands of somebody that saw me a particular way. And now they'd be like, oh, what? Right? They might start looking at me a little different. I was worried about that. So I didn't want to be fully transparent. And so that was number one. Number two, it was, this perception. And again, I want you guys to listen to this. Number two, my brothers and sisters in smoke in particular, is this sense of like, oh, I'm still in control. See, if you have to convince yourself that you're still in control, consider that maybe you're not.
Mm.
Right. And that's where I really had to get to. It's like, oh, this isn't really a problem. Well, how do you know? And in my book, guys, I reference this image that I speak to multiple times. It's like, what you can't fast controls you. Now, my brothers and sisters in smoke will know this because it's always like, man, anytime I want to, man,
I can stop
this down, man.
I can stop
like
anytime.
3 months, man. I go 3 months. I go like 3 months.
I just don't want to. I just don't want to.
Right? You have smoked with somebody, whether it's Smokey or whatever, who will say something like that, and you won't respond, but you like, oh, I'm not too sure, Smokey. I don't know if you can, right? You're not being honest with yourself, right? And some people get defensive, right? As you can go and look at my my comments, the comments in there, right? Some people get real defensive. They're like, oh yeah, you're a cracker, right? And I don't want to be disrespectful, but that's kind of like the attitude that some people are coming with, right? Is they get defensive all of a sudden. All right, what are you defending, brother? Sister, what are you defending? Like, what are you worked up in? I'm not judging you. All right. I would be a hypocrite if I was judging you. I know where you are, where you've been. All right. I'm not speaking to your situation, but the fact that you're getting so defensive might be, maybe there might be a little something there, right? So step number one, brother, is awareness. And let me pause there, man, because I probably go for a long time, but
you said so much. You've said so many things that just hit the nail right on the head. Obviously, we talk a ton on the podcast about accountability, about awareness, actually. Awareness, just understanding exactly where you're at. In a book I reference a lot called 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. He talks about objective reality. Right, just having this objective reality, knowing exactly where you are, being honest with yourself. And that's a problem for most people, especially as we go down this conversation of things that control us, substances, smoking, drinking, those things. So the awareness is the key, right? Like that, I second that. And everybody that's been listening and paying attention to the podcast for some time, that's something that we're big on, right? But then also something that you said that might lead into some other things, the stigma behind what this means if I let someone know that I smoke or that I drink or whatever the case is, right? Specifically, let's just talk smoking because this is what the show is, right? It's how to quit smoking weed. So that stigma that you might have, like you said, hey, I was doing it, but there were some people in my life that I thought would probably look at me a little bit differently if they knew that I did. I think that's changing. That's changing a ton. And there's so many people now that also it makes it easy. It makes it harder to stop because people almost look at you like normal when you do, right? They look at you as not normal if you're not smoking, right? So there's a different connotation now to it that's really, I don't know if it's perpetuating it, but it's really changing some of the conversation a bit. So it is getting more difficult just because of our society, because of the adaptation of it. But awareness for the individual person that's listening to this, the awareness around where do you sit? And like our good brother Kabi says, right, if you can't fast it or anything you can't fast from controls you. So find out if that's something you can fast. And I think you'll have a healthier relationship with it.
1000%. Step one, awareness. Step two, or point two that I like to bring today, man, is what or who is influencing your decision? Is this a decision you're making for yourself and you, or is this a decision that you are being influenced by? See, a lot of people, right? We already know the top 5 people around us principle. We are the average of the top 5 people around us, etc. If all the top 5 people around you are also smoking, well, you can't ask their opinion. Okay, right. You can't ask their opinion about it because guess what? They agree with you, right? They agree with you. And guess what? The longer you partake in a particular activity, you surround yourself especially smoking, you build a culture of smoking, right? If you are around successful people, you build a culture of success. If you are around healthy people, you build a culture of health. If you are around rich people, you build a culture of wealth. If you are around people of faith, you build a culture of faith. If you are around drinkers and partiers, you build a culture of drinking and partying. So you can't rely on the opinions of the individuals around you to as a litmus test, as if what you're doing is okay. Of course it's okay. They doing it with you, right? They are right there next to you doing it. So how can you ask them, oh, well, what's your opinion on this? That's number one. That's the people immediately around you. And then I want to speak to the heroes, right? The individuals we see on social media, music videos, movies, and we give them capes. We put the crowns on them, right? We already talked about one at the top of the show. But think about the people that you're consuming, the artists that you're listening to, the movie stars that you're watching, the content that you're seeing in magazines and ads, etc. Right? And they go on their on social media and they're rolling up a fat blunt, right? Or they doing whatever, and all we hear, right, is rolling up a fat blunt, doing this and doing that, right? Again, I'm not saying any of this stuff is bad. I'm just saying, pay attention. Let's pay attention to the type of content that we're consuming, right? And how that is influencing the decisions that we're making that maybe is not even our own decisions. Like we're being subliminally influenced and we're not even acknowledging it. Now, this is where things change for me, brother. This is where things change for me, because if somebody had told me this a couple of years ago, I'll say, you know what? I appreciate it, old head. But you go ahead and you live a life like a monk. But I will go ahead and do what I want to do, because my heroes and the people that I listen to, they're doing just fine. They're making $100 million a year, and ain't nothing wrong with them smoking up a blunt and doing all these things. But guess what? You're not making $100 million a year. You are not doing all those things, and you are not being paid for it. Okay. So, and even if you're being paid for it, that's a conversation for another day. Because I'm telling you right now, those people on TV, music videos, etc., that are portraying that in their silent time by themselves, when they look in the mirror, they might sing a different tune. They might not be so cool about it, right? I was watching a video with Wiz Khalifa, and I just thought to myself, if you wake up, and from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, you are not only high, but every single minute of the day, you have smoke in your lungs. How? How?
How,
Sway?
You say
you are experiencing any sort of life, because that is your permanent state. You have altered your permanent state, right? And there's this guru on YouTube, right? I forget this Sadat or something. I forget his name, but he was talking about, look, we experience life through our senses. If our senses are constantly altered, we don't actually get a true experience of life. We're living in some reality that doesn't exist, right? Not that this exists, but like we're constantly we're altering the very thing that allow us to experience life. Again, guys, I'm not, I know it sounds like I'm preaching, right? But I'm just sharing my experience and the thought process that got me here. It was to a point where I had to really sit back and be like, why are all the people we look up to? And again, this is where things change for me, is I'm the oldest of 5. I started to look at my siblings and I'm thinking to myself, all the people they listen to are telling them smoking is cool. They're not hearing a single thing about the other side, which is that, yes, it can be addictive. Anything can. And if you don't think so, that's another episode, right? 2, They are not those people. Again, they are not making millions of dollars for portraying this lifestyle. So for them to hear this at 12, at even 8, like 10, right? 15 years old, and be seeing this as the way to go about life, right? I know at my age now that that's not helpful. Right. So when I started to see that, and I'm like, man, the people they really look up to, this is a message to tell them. When I tell them something else, right, it falls on deaf ears because I'm not a multi-million-dollar recording artist or movie star or whatever with that level of influence. And we pretend like that stuff isn't real, but it is. It is.
Weren't we influenced though? Right.
1,000%.
Yeah. Like I mean, as we're talking, I'm literally thinking about 2005 Lil Wayne sparking up his lighter on the beginning of every track, and that caused us to want to smoke more in college, right? Like just that did it, right? We were influenced in similar ways. But the prevalence of like how normal it is, I think you're heading down the right path on that. Like of like how, because that wasn't normal. We always felt like, I don't know, it was different. Now it's glorified. Now it's like it is mainstream, and these kids are picking it up. So I understand your thoughts on that.
But my let me reframe my thoughts a little bit more of them. I have what I'm saying is there's very little counter narrative to that now, right? It's the people. Yes, you're being influenced, but what they're not telling you is the not so glorified side,
right?
Right? They're not telling you that you experience after 4, 8, right, 16, 20 years, right? And when you start coughing up all types of things, and right, and you realize, maybe this isn't the thing for me, right? And the other thing I'll put that is well, it's medicinal use and et cetera, et cetera. Go ahead. No, don't do this, please. I caught myself. Thank you. Right, because we're about to get canceled. Do not do this. But if you go take enough Robitussin or Advil or other forms of medicine, even natural medicine, right? All right, and I'm a steady natural medicine. Any amount, if you take an excessive amount of it, it can be and will be toxic, right? So even if it's medicinal use, not in the quantities you're using it, my friend, or we're using it, right? Artists don't talk about, I had a nice, half a J just to help me sleep. No, they talk about I smoke a pound, I smoke a zip, right? It's like the more the better, the excessive amount. And we know this is not our rap. We've got the Willie Nelsons of the world, etc. Right? Sure. An excessive amount is better. Right? So, guys, man, listen, I mean, we might need a part 2 of this, but first, it's awareness. Like there's got to be a counter narrative, especially for young folks, right? Because we know right now, we had this stat that I want to bring in the show. Right now, we know that Gen Z, the percentage of Gen Zs that are taking up weed in particular, of course, other drugs as well, is astonishing, right? From rising from 8.3% in Q1 2020 to 15% in Q4 2021.
Almost double.
Double. And not just that, we also know that, really think about it, the bigs, again, right? The conglomerates, right? Altria and formerly Philip Morris, I believe, has duped us one again, right? We went from cigarettes are good for you, even if you have a baby, right, to allow, hey, by the way, cigarettes cause cancer and lung cancer, number 1 type of cancer. And now they snuck through the back door and used technology. And now what do we see? Every kid in middle school has a vape, right? Obviously not every kid, I'm exaggerating here, but I see kids in middle school. I used to be a teacher, right? And I remember there was all of a sudden one year, we're seeing massive amounts of kids using vapes in school, right? And we know, and oh, it's harmless because there's no, so, oh, really? That's why kids are ending up in the hospital with lungs full of metallic material, right?
Mm.
Like this is we're being lied to, right? That's the thing that really always gets me, and that's the theme of the show is like we're being lied to. We're not being told about the health effects until 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years later, right? And at that point, we've got a whole generation messed up, and then we pivot to the next thing, right? And who continues to benefit and who continues to make money. So this whole part right here, guys, how do you quit? First and foremost, you got to recognize it's an issue, right? If there is no issue, you're doing fine, you might as well turn this off. Like there's nothing to talk about if all is good, right? If you are rich, healthy, happy, and whole, what are we talking about?
Congratulations, you've won.
Yes?
You've won.
All right, congratulations. Right. But ask yourself, if life is so great for Wiz Khalifa, why my man gotta be high all the time? All the time? Like, let's think about this for a second. What you running from?
Snoop.
All right, shout out Snoop. But see, listen, the thing is, what people don't realize is at this point, right, man's getting paid off of that. It is not to his benefit to come out in any way, shape, or form and say, hey guys, I'm no longer a proponent of marijuana. Why would he do that? Even if that's how he feels, why would he do that? Liver King, it's not to his benefit whatsoever. Hey guys, by the way, I've been injecting steroids in my buttocks for 10 years. Why would he do that? So we have to understand simple marketing, simple branding. Not everything can just be handed to us. We at some point have to be wise consumers. Right? Of course, Uncle Snoop. I still love Uncle Snoop. Of course. Right? But when somebody who doesn't understand that, oh, okay, I see what's happening here, they might get the wrong message. You don't make Snoop money. You don't live Snoop life. Right? That's not you. You don't get paid. Snoop can go on television and go smoke right now. You go on television and go smoke. See what happened to you and your sales job at whatever company you at.
I know. I mean, that almost happened to Elon back. Remember? Like Elon smoked a little. All of his investors were like, "Yeah, what are you doing? We're gonna pull some money."
And with all of his money,
yeah,
right. With all of his money, look what happened. You know what I mean? So. Let's, hey, again, let's bring it back here a little bit, brother. Like, first and foremost, awareness. Second, I think a little bit of a counter narrative, right? As to, and then at that point, bro, you've built up a why, right? Why does this even matter? Like, is it that? Because otherwise, you're like, it's not that big a deal. It's fine, etc. Right? And then you got to ask yourself, like, how? You could give it up, but have you ever actually done it to test yourself out? Oh yeah, I did it for a day or two. I did it for a week or did it for a month, right? For me, when I got to a point, I was like, I don't know. Have I? When's the last time I just went a straight year, just straight cold, everything just clear, right? Just a full year, right? Full year. For a lot of people, once they hit, let's be generous. Let's say 18. For the rest of their life, they will never be sober for a year ever again. Ever again.
That's a solid assumption. And I think you're being very generous with the 18 because people are trying alcohol or smoking before that. So, I mean, we just talked about Gen Zers, right? So I think that's actually a trend. But yeah, that's a crazy stat though, right? Like, how many people will actually go a year and do something that you've done or do something where they're completely sober? Very, very small group of people. I think you hit something again on the head where you said, right, figuring out that why. You've kind of already constructed the why, but I think that part is always important. Good old Simon Sinek, right? Start with the why, but like understanding like why you want to stop smoking. Like, what is this doing? What is it holding you back from? Where is it that you want to take your life? Where do you want to see yourself grow in the health side, in your finances, in your relationships, in your faith life, in your family life, right? Where do you, is it holding you back? And is that reason strong enough for actually wanting to stop? And hopefully it is. Hopefully there's something there that's actually allowing you to say, you know what, this is holding me back, limiting my potential a bit, putting me in a place where maybe I'm not getting to that good life as fast as I should be. And if you know that it's a problem, back to step one of just awareness. Okay, well, how bad is this? What do I need to do? And now you have resources like us here on The Good Life, like Khabib, right, where you now can get guidance on exactly what you're feeling, exactly how to go through and navigate the process. It's not the same for everyone. I'm sure Khabib will tell you that it's not the same for everybody, but it's something that you can start to implement if you believe it's something that's holding you back. So I think this is an incredibly important episode, incredibly important time to talk about these things, especially if people are struggling with it.
1000%. And you know, I'll say this as well, guys. Like, I think this is one of those things that it's you and you. It's you and you in the mirror, and nobody can make the decision for you. Nobody can come to the conclusion for you. It's you and you. Only you know. All right. And for me, you know, what finally, because I've taken on something like this before, but what finally pushed me on to really like extend it was it was me and me. It was me and me. Like, I know that I know that I know that I know, right? And that muscle of discipline, that muscle of realigning my heart, my mind, my soul, and being impeccable with my word to myself, right? And regaining my power. That's what was important. And that's what I kind of discovered through this. I'm not saying that one has to, you know, live a particular way for the rest of their life. I actually don't even think that's necessary. In fact, I believe that a lot of people are like, oh yeah, you can use it once in a while and all these things and you'll be fine, etc. Like, that's fine. That's fine. But the truth of the matter is that's not what you're doing. Right? We're talking in theory here, right? You know, oh, that's not really a big deal. But what about you, right? What about me? And that's the conversation I'm having by myself. That's cool that you can do that. Oh, you know, Uncle Snoop can do this. Uncle Elon can do this. Uncle whoever can do this. But I'm not them. I'm me, right? I'm over here. So I gotta talk. Like, I gotta be honest with me and what's going on with me. And the thing is, to talk in theory as something is possible and then to actually execute on it are two different things. You could make $100 million, but show me that bank account.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in there. Right. And I think it's incredibly important for us to, again, be honest with yourself. And I think that's really where it all starts. Right. I think that's really where it all starts. And then if we want to transition to actual practicality, you know, again, we might need a part two of this, but actual practicality, it really comes down to just stacking days. Stacking days, stay busy with your hands and your mind, etc. Hop on that health plan, right? Get moving, get exercising, get eating right, detox your gut, okay? Right? Change your gut flora bacteria, right? Detox your life. The people you hanging around with, the things you're consuming, the images that your house, the materials that you have access to, right? Get rid of that smoking box that you got all your little things in that you've been keeping, your bubbler and whatever. You know what I'm talking about. You know, I ain't gotta name it all for you, right? Get rid of that and start stacking days, right? If you're figure out, start journaling. paying attention. When is it that I am itching to do whatever it is?
Yeah.
Right? When
Yeah.
is it? At what point? Right after work? All right. We got to deal with that. When is
Yeah.
it? Right before bed? Right when you wake? Like, when is it? What is the trigger that causes it? And then deal, just like in health, anything else, what is the root cause?
Yeah.
Because this isn't really about. All right, okay, I'm gonna go there, guys.
All right.
Come in, bring it in. This isn't really about weed. Get off the weed. All right, no, I'll just play it. But no, seriously, this ain't really about weed. This is what is underneath. What is the root that's bearing those fruit? What is underneath? Because when you take that weed, alcohol, porn, whatever it is, excessive working out, excessive whatever it is, you're out of balance. You're out of harmony. Why? Correct the imbalance. And then you can have a healthy relationship with whatever it is that you're trying to consume. But until then, you're fooling yourself. I was fooling myself. A lot of people are fooling themselves. You don't have a healthy relationship because the roots are deep and they're wide. You see, the roots are deep and they're wide. And whatever that root cause is, as long as that root cause is there, it's going to bear fruit. It's like whack-a-mole. You get rid of one, you might stop smoking, and all of a sudden now you out here excessively eating. Right? You might stop eating, you might stop doing it. Now you all over here. Now you excessively leaving your seed everywhere. Right? Whatever it is, right? whatever it is that you pick it up.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
My strange addiction, whatever it's called. Right? Now you're out here eating the mattress, whatever they do.
Eating the mattress. This is true. Before we answer that question, Dougal, of how do we get to this root cause? What you said, though, is super important, that we have to just be able to identify and get to that place where once we remove weed from our life, or that substance or whatever it is, what triggers us to itch for it? What triggers us to need it again and want to go back? Whatever that is, that's the signal to you to say, this is the place to pay attention. This is the place that you're having some disharmony, or dis-ease, or discomfort in your life. So let's pay attention to this area. And that's how we can then get to that root cause. That's how I would think of it. Would you think the same thing? Like how does one find that root cause when you remove this substance from your life, or going down that path?
Start paying attention. Start paying attention. Stop falling asleep at the wheel and start paying attention.
Awareness.
Right? So whatever that means for you, whether that's taking a minute to be still and actually being where you are, 10 toes down, whether that is journaling for you and actually going back and thinking through the situation as to what did I actually do today? Right? Or whether it's before taking an action, coming back to your conscious self and say, okay, I'm reaching for this. Why? It's just start paying attention. See, I think a lot of as Westerners, we do things for the result quite often, right? We train to look good. We eat to stay healthy for a long period of time. We're never really 10 toes down. We're never really right where we are. We're always either in the past or in the future. We're never right here present. So we don't actually know or pay attention or recognize what is happening right now. We might remember it in the past. We might see it in the future, but we're never really right here. You ever driven home, right? Hopped in your car, driven home. You got home and you couldn't remember how you got home. You went on autopilot. You weren't really there, right? I do it all the time too. We're never really present right? So I think it's getting present. So a lot of the health things, right? And in my program, one of the things I hold dear is called a scorecard, and I have a list of things, of lifestyle things, right? And again, for me, it comes down to three areas, major levers that we pull: what we consume, particularly food, but other things as well, our movement. All right, because these levers are very accessible, they're tangible to us, and then everything else kind of falls in the scorecard. It's the lifestyle activities that we take on. Now, a lot of these things heavily researched as to, oh, it's good for us, meditation does these, but I realize a lot of it is things that help us just stay present.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of things that help us actually live and experience life. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think in those, what we have to recognize is we do those things because we've cultivated a habit of not being present.
Mm-hmm.
So we're again out of harmony, right? We're out of harmony. Our yin and our yang is out of whack, and we got to put it back, or we don't have to, but this is a way to come back into harmony by just coming back to being present. You don't have to do any of this, by the way, right? You don't. One of the funniest things I ever saw was like, you get healthy, right? You get healthy, you get where you want to go, you get that body, you get that whatever, and it's like, congratulations, now you got to do this for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, right? It's just a practice. It's not a destination. And one of the things is to help us stay present to one of these things. So yeah, man, that's what I'll say to that.
I love it, man. Listen, there's such important information that you just said, and that I hope people that are listening are able to get this information and really apply it. Right? There's a lot of things. Again, awareness. We're going to keep going back to, because that's the key. Just really take the self-assessment. If there's anything that you can get from this episode today, it's really just making sure that you go back in and you take an assessment of where you are, an assessment of like what you're struggling with, or what you need to make happen, what you need to sacrifice, habits you need to put in place. Once you remove something from your life, like smoking, that energy goes somewhere else. So finding the good places to put that energy. Kabir gave you a list of things. That scorecard really does help. I've worked obviously with them a bunch of times, right? So obviously that scorecard is awesome. And again, gives you those triggers to know when you're thinking about like, all right, well, why am I struggling with this? Hey, why do I really feel like eating this or smoking or drinking or whatever it is? You're going to start to notice it the more that you start to fast, remove some of those things from your life, and get more aware, pay attention to that stuff. So I think that was awesome, man. If you want to give a final kind of your final note or your final takeaway from today, and tell the people kind of what they should take away, and then wrap this thing up. I think it went good.
Let's do it. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the final five, right? We don't have a little sound yet, but that's what you get for today. So we got a final five, and I'm going to give it to you in this order. Number 5, everything is about stacking. So wherever you're going, like stack them, stack the days, stack the habits, stack, day after day after day after day. That's how you get to wherever you want to go. So you just take it one day at a time, stay 10 toes down and stack them. All right. Number 4, we have to go to the root of what is going on. We got to go to the source, right? Not just the habit itself, but what is the trigger that's getting to the habit? Just like we go to the root cause of dis-ease, it's the same concept, because these things are a symptom of the dis-ease. So we got to go to the source. Number 3, even medicine can be toxic, right? It is meant to reestablish harmony and balance. But if it's used in excess, or even if it's used in not enough, it can cause issues. Even natural medicine can cause issues if used in the wrong amount. So just because something is medicine does not mean that it is absolutely harmless. Trust. Number 2, the narrative is now lopsided when it comes to weed. It's all about being cool. See, it's an easy way for your favorite person to just now be cool just because they show that they smoke weed, right? First, it used to be just the artists out here in Queens or whatnot smoking underground. Now, Elon, the face of the corporation, can come out here and he takes a puff on screen. Now, all of a sudden, he's cool because he does that. It's all a marketing gimmick, guys, and that's just my opinion. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying let's consider that maybe they're leveraging, right, what used to be cool in the streets to make themselves cool so they can market themselves out there. And number one, your heroes aren't always being honest with you. So be careful of who you crown king, right, in your life, okay? And I will leave it at that because here we are and could be out.
We come in with channeling Mr. Liver King. We're on the way out channeling the same energy. Guys, we appreciate all of you listening, everybody that's tuned in. We appreciate you taking the time to be able to jump on. As always, go somewhere to like, share, comment, whether that be YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you are. Like, comment, share something that can potentially go out and benefit somebody. For those of you that haven't yet jumped into our Facebook group, go ahead and jump into our Facebook group. Those of you watching, you can see the link there. It's bit.ly/TGL Connect. That is our Facebook group. You can go in there and you can get more access to Kabi and I. He channels more of his Liver King energy in the Facebook group. No, I'm joking. He doesn't, but he could, right, in the group. But that's where we're going to give you guys the community that you need to get to this life that you're designing. So join us over there on Facebook. But we appreciate you all tuning in. Kabi, I think we might need an episode 2. I don't know if we got through a lot, but there might need to be another one. We come back around, maybe top of the year, maybe after our road to 100, we come back around and have the full year update.
That's it. This topic is a very important topic. It's a very relevant topic. And quite frankly, judging by the numbers of how big the industry is, it's going to be a relevant topic for a long time. So if you want us to come back with a part 2, make sure you comment, make sure you let us know, because if you don't let us know, we don't know what you want. And if we don't know what we want, we can't give the people what they want. And then we left holding our hands up like, and we don't know what to give you. But guys, we appreciate you joining. Make sure you join us next time live. You can catch us live on Instagram. I am Cut the Noise. C moves on 1. All right, you can see it on the screen somewhere. Catch us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere where there's a screen, we will be. You already know because I love talking like this. Now, Kabi,